over the last few days, we have looked at it's not a bill, it's supposed to end up a ballot initiative. And I think a lot of people, when they hear the words ballot initiative, you're going to get a chance to vote on an abortion ballot initiative come November.
It looks like they have enough votes to be on the ballot, correct?
And I think some people, I'm sure, want to go and do that. Okay, how about a border ballot initiative? Because, well, we've said it. We just talked about the border in the last few segments. It's a mess. We don't have to go necessarily into. I think most people know that. Are we going to be able to vote on something here in Arizona that the Arizona legislature is working on that will deal with our border? And is this initiative any good? And is there a part of it that is scary?
Okay. Well, I think your answer is yes. And it is going to be called, you know what? Can we just bring in the expert on this?
Let's do it. Joining us now is someone who does not like this bill, Democratic Representative Analise Ortiz. Nice to have you in studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we go ahead, Bruce.
I was going to say, it's called the Secure the Border Initiative. Does that sound right?
Allegedly.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm just talking about factually, right? And it is going to be on the ballot, and that's because our state legislature can put things on the ballot. This doesn't require signatures like some of the others.
That's right. And it also doesn't require approval of Governor Hobbs. So this exact language is kind of a modge podge of other bills that have been vetoed by Governor Hobbs.
Okay.
And Republicans who are in the majority in the legislature decided, how can we get around her? Let's send this to the ballot. And what gravely concerns me is that it is riddled with constitutional problems.
Okay. So what is the one main problem? Bruce and I were talking about there's... It's
1070 on steroids, and 1070 had a lot of
a little of the Texas law
problems
in it, and it deals with what police officers are allowed to do when asking about someone's immigration status.
That's exactly right. There are many provisions of this Secure the Border Act that is almost identical to SB 1070, what we know in Arizona as the Show Me Your Papers law. What this essentially will do is allow Arizona police to enforce federal immigration law, which the courts have time and time again have said is unconstitutional, that states do not have the authority to do that. So how would police go about doing this? What we have seen in our Arizona history when they have been given this over authority, in my opinion, is racial profiling. This essentially opens the door for any traffic stop to become an immigration interrogation, including for Arizona citizens, and for police to potentially pull someone over because they look undocumented based on the color of their skin or maybe the car they're driving. We heard Sheriff Lamb say yesterday if they're wearing camouflage in Pinal County, come on.
All right, so
I thought everybody wore camouflage in Pinal County.
What part of the bill gives police officers immunity?
There is a piece of the bill, page 8, that really concerns me as somebody that cares about our Constitution and cares about people's civil rights. What this would do is give police officers total immunity for any kind of case that is brought against them in the process of enforcing this law. So, for example, if I am pulled over, I'm stopped for 45 minutes, say I get into a tussle, I don't have a documentation on me, or maybe the officer doesn't believe my ID is enough documentation, and I feel as though I have been racially profiled or that my Fourth Amendment right has been violated, and I try to later go back and sue that police department, it would be dismissed. It would be thrown out. I would have absolutely no recourse.
Because
this should
the ballot
terrify
initiative in and of itself gives law enforcement total immunity against lawsuits should they racially profile.
That's exactly right. And my question yesterday to the proponents of the bill and law enforcement officers who came to testify was, if there is not the concern that you would be sued for racially profiling, then what guarantees that police will not racially profile people?
Well, I would also argue if they weren't worried about it, why'd you put it in the bill? If that isn't a concern, because it strikes me that I say it's a lesson learned from SB 1070 where there were lawsuits aplenty.
I don't know if we learned.
Well, but we learned the lawsuit part. So they're going to try to do it again, but take away the lawsuit part. I still don't think it's going to pass constitutional muster.
It might be on the ballot. We're talking to Democratic Representative Analise Ortiz. There's a possibility that we could see some sort of a ballot initiative on the border. It is similar to SB 1070. Bruce and I went over it yesterday. There was one piece that we pulled out that said, "Hold on a second. Listen, I'm a big supporter of the police. I know they don't want this. I can tell you right. Have you spoken to police about this? Because there's already too much on their plate. I don't think they want that responsibility."
Yeah. Is Phoenix police excited about this?
Well, I did not talk to them. One of the interesting parts about the hearing yesterday, so I sat on the committee as this was voted through by the majority, and we heard from sheriffs that their counties are nowhere near the border. Yavapai County Sheriff came down, and then we heard from Pinal, which is a little closer to the border. Yeah. But the thing that was interesting to me was that both of them expressed concern or questions about the probable cause element here. The bill is intentionally silent on what would be allowed for reasonable suspicion or probable cause. We had one sheriff, Mr. Lamb, Sheriff Lamb, saying, I would have to physically see someone crossing the border with my own eyes. And when I asked him, "Sir, your county does not even sit on the border. How are you going to do that?"
Right.
He could not answer. So these are the concerns that make me feel as though our Republican colleagues didn't even consult with law enforcement. And then we did just see before this broadcast that Pima County Attorney Laura Conover has come out opposed to this. She is a prosecutor in a border county who thinks this is not the right solution.
Representative Ortiz is with us right now. She represents Maryvale and Glendale. I think I know where this bill's coming from. Can I give you my conspiracy theory?
Let's hear it.
And you tell me if I'm anywhere near on path. We know that the I'm going to call it the abortion initiative, the one that would kind of reinstate Roe v. Wade era laws, is going to be on the ballot, right? We feel that's going to happen. And if you believe any public polling whatsoever, it would also pass. The belief is that it also may drive a certain, people. It might drive a voter engagement, certainly maybe more on the Democratic side. And the Republicans were looking for, what could we get on the ballot that would gin up and excite our side to show up and vote? Do you think am I in the ballpark?
I think you are in the ballpark. I would say that is a conspiracy theory that's a little bit more rooted in reality than some of the others we hear at the Capitol.
Because they have to know, even the Texas law is unconstitutional.
Exactly.
They have to know the minute this is passed, it'll be sued, it'll be stayed, and it probably won't pass muster.
And this is what makes me so upset about this, Bruce. When a law is unconstitutional, who foots the bill for that going to court and having to prove that it's unconstitutional? It's you, the taxpayer.
I knew it would come
So Republicans are putting something on the ballot that they know is unconstitutional in an attempt to score cheap political points with the fringe elements of their party at the expense of Arizona's good name. We are tired of being a joke in the national headlines. And more importantly, we are tired of wasting money, taxpayer dollars, on this kind of nonsense.
Really appreciate your time today. Thank you. Can I just real quickly, what is the next process? What's going to happen next? Or is this already going to happen?
They were supposed to vote on the bill today. They didn't because one of the Republican senators was out. That's how close the numbers are.
It's a one-vote majority, right?
It's a one-vote majority. They are expected to vote on this next week, and then it will come to the House. And from there, if moved through the House, it will go to the ballot.
Appreciate it, Representative Ortiz. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.